In today's video I will show you a racket leg in the forehand. This thing here. I will show you how to do it and explain to you why it's important. And there's two different variations you can do. If you're new to this channel, my name is Patrik Broddfelt, a tennis coach in Norway. The first thing is this something I teach to my students? Yes and no. It's not something I talk about, but I want the students to have a racket leg. But it all depends on many factors, like the grip, the take back, and down into the slot here. So it all depends. If there's no racket leg, I'm not talking about the racket leg, but I'm trying to fix the solution to why it's not happening. It might be a lot of factors. It has all to do with biomechanics and the kinetic chain of the body. Let me show you this rubber band here. I have a take back and I'll go here. So what happens now is when I pull forward here, you will notice when I do this, this will automatically have a lag in it. So think about this as the arm and the racket, okay? So if I'm standing like this now and I pull forward, you see what happened to this? It will have a lag. I'm here and I pull forward and it will lag. Even though I have it here, it will lag some, but not as much. So that's how you get the speed of a racket and the racket leg. So what you have to think is, I'm here and I want to pull from here forward, and I do it with my shoulder as well, using the big muscles, and this will happen. The faster I do it, the faster this will travel. And as you can see, this one flies over the shoulder, around, without me doing anything. So I'm not forcing the racket to go here, or this rubber band is happening naturally. Okay, so with a racket, you have a starting position, and I have a take back. I have a uniturn with my hips and shoulders. Have lots of space here, that's important. If you're too close, it's difficult to have this racket leg. I'll show you why. And so you have to be here, and then I'll go down. So when I'm here, I start with the foot here to get my hips turning and get my leg here. So as I'm standing here, I'm going this. So this happens naturally. I'm not trying to do it, I'm not focusing it. It will happen naturally. If your racket is in this position, it will happen naturally. For those players, it's not happening naturally. It's because they are going this way. So they're supinating here, and so now it's stretched. You see here, I'm relaxed. Here, I'm stretched. So from here, I would do this. I would pull with the butt cap and go here. That's when you're not getting the stretch shortening cycle. So it's important to be palm down. Let me explain the difference between the grips as well. So in old days we had like a continental grip almost, and more like a C path. But even though I have this, I will have some racket leg here. But you see my strings more pointing up than into the ground. If I have an Eastern forehand, a little bit is pointing down, but not much, and I still have a racket leg here. Semi-Western, now the strings are pointing to the ground. So when you're in this position, if you see the strings is not pointing down and you haven't done this, it's because of a grip, okay? So if the strings is pointing down, so then you will get more topspin that way. What will happen if you have a Western grip is even more. You'll be in like a sinner position with the strings pointing a little bit back, and same with Djokovic, pointing back and down into the ground. And the more extreme grip you have, the more racket lag you will have as well. So this is the Western. So when I'm here, I will have this. Oof. If I'm having more like an Eastern Continental, I'll be here and it's less. So that's an important factor to consider. I said in the beginning of the video, there's two types of racket lag. First one is if you want to hit more topspin, you're going down below the ball. So then my racket travels this way and I'll be this way. You see, it's below, and when I go up to the ball, I will get more topspin on that ball. So that's how you hit heavy topspin, like Nadal, Alcaraz, Casper Ruud and them. But if you want to hit more power, a little bit flatter, what will happen then is I'll go down here and then I'll go this way and straight to a ball. It's more flat. So that's the two types of stretch shortening cycle or forehand leg. Okay, so you have a topspin below, you have this one more flat. Also, like I said in the beginning, it's not something I'm trying to focus on with my students. However, if they have the correct spacing here, the racket travels this way on the same side of the chest, far out, a racket tip is 45 degrees or today's player even more like this, then this will happen. If a racket is more here, it's less of it, but it's still some racket lag. However, if I'm going this way with a semi-Western grip, there will be no racket lag. And then I changed it because this way two things happened. It's locked, they make contact, and then you see my strings will point that way. So we have a shorter contact zone. So that's not good. So that's when I changed the technique in the take back to get that racket lag. Yes, I know there's a difference between the women and the male players. Women are more taking racket back like this and get this kind of racket lag. But they're using different muscles and they are not hitting with as much topspin as the male players. So it's still okay to do that for the women. They have a racket tip high up and they go like this. Male players are more racket tip this way, pointing towards side fence or a little bit 45 degrees back and go down and then get the racket lag. It's fine for male players. There's a lot of male players having this technique as well. But if you want to hit with heavy topspin, it's not the best choice to do, but you will get lots of power on that shot. So it depends on what kind of player you are. There always been racket lag, even in old days. But as I said in the beginning, it depends on the grip and style of play. But there's always been racket lag, not as extreme. It all has to do with the technology, the strings. You can hit more topspin, so they change the grip, more open stances, and yeah. So that's why it's more racket lag in today's game than it was in the 80s. But there was still some racket lag back then. So it's important to stay relaxed in your arm, in your forearm, shoulder, then you will get it. If you're stiff, mussing a ball, it won't happen. So this is with a continental grip. So I have this path here, and you see it's still racket lag, but it's more controlled and I won't get as much topspin. Here's the Eastern. I still get the racket leg. There's a little bit more spin on that ball. And then there's a semi-western grip that I prefer my players to have. It will be more racket leg and more spin. There's a western grip, which I don't like, but especially for the juniors or beginner players, it's not a good grip to use. But when you're a high level, you can actually use this grip, but I don't like it because you're limited to the shot selections. So be careful with that grip. But it will be even more leg with this grip and even more spin, like you see. Another thing to consider is when you're taking high balls, there will be less racket leg. So if I'm up here and I'm trying to hit the ball here, you see it will be less racket leg. So racket leg you want when you go here. So you go down and bum. Up here it will be less. So that's why it's a flatter shot when you hit that ball. Yes, you can do sometimes this way and up. So you see it goes down a little bit and up, especially if it's standing back here. But it's not as much racket leg. It will be more flat like this. So let's get over the key points again to get the racket leg. Firstly, don't try to do it. It will happen naturally. Secondly, it's all about the take back. If you have enough spacing with your body and your racket stays on the same path here, it will be racket leg. As long as you're not gripping too tight, but you don't want to be too loose either, because if you're very loose, it will be like this. So I'm not saying be very, very loose, but you have to be loose with some kind of firmness. So when you're taking back here, you're letting the gravity work. As I'm rotating here, the racket will drop automatically, and then you will get that racket leg. So if you're trying to get racket leg with the arms like this, yeah, you might get some, but it will be more stiff, okay? So you need to use the whole kinetic chain. When you're here, you start here, and then you pull with the shoulder and butt cap towards the ball. So that's how you get the racket leg. Like I said, if it's lacking, it's because when you go back here, you do this. So this is a very common mistake. I'm rolling the racket head this way. Then I won't get the racket leg. So if you're in this position and then you go this way with a racket, it's not as easy to get that racket leg. So you have to stay here and get your palms down. Even though I'm holding the service grip, I'm getting this down, like a cup of water I'm drinking. So I'm getting this down here, and then I get the racket leg. Semi-Western, it's palm down. Eastern, it's 45 degrees here and get down this way. And then I will get the racket leg. It's as easy as that. It's not complicated. That's the reason I didn't want to do this video, because it's not something you want to practice, but it's something you want in a stroke. So go out and record yourself. If you're not having in a stroke, see what happens in this position here. If you're rolling, the racket head is going this way. If you want to racket leg. Yes, it will get you more spin, it will get you more power. So all the competition players, I want to have some kind of racket leg. The same goes to the backhand, serve. There's some racket lag if you're doing correctly. But it's not something you want to force doing. Please let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. It will help my channel to grow even more. Until next time, go out and play some tennis.